Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Tonnessen, and I would like to welcome you to the fourth episode of Design by Kelly's podcast, Coffee Chats with Kelly. Today, we are hosting a special edition of the show where we will be answering your top 5 most asked questions about small business branding as well as web design. So grab your coffee and join us. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the founder of Design by Kelly, Kelly Thomas.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
So let's talk about the top 5 questions you get asked most during client consultations. So the first one I was wondering was, what is branding?
So branding is the way your business is perceived when people experience it. So whether it's online or print or in person, it's all about how it looks, how it sounds, how it feels. So there's a lot of elements to a brand. Most people think it's just your logo, but it's not. There's so much more than just your logo. So there are several elements to consider when you're building a brand. So first, you have to know where your company's headed and why. That's things like your purpose, your vision, your mission, your values, all those kind of things. And then you have to think about your brand personality. So how would it look and sound if it were a person? How do you want people to feel when they come in contact with anything that's related to your business? So then you have to think about your brand advantage. What is something that's going to make you unique and stand out? Chances are, whatever your business is, there are thousands and thousands of people who do the same thing you do. So why is somebody going to visit your website or look at your print material or go to your social media, and why are they going to stay and be interested? You have to figure out what that is. You got to set yourself apart from your competition. Then you have to think about a brand promise. What is something you want to promise your users, your clients, your customers, whatever you're trying to achieve? And then you have to make sure you keep that promise. It's not just for select people, it's for everybody. You have to have that promise. Then you have the verbal identity. These are things like your name, your tagline, your story, your message, who you are as a business. And then you have the visual identity, which is where your logo comes in. I kind of think of it as like your stamp on the world. It's the visual thing everyone sees. But it's a combination of all these things together that give people that full brand experience. So when they work together and they're done consistently, a customer can experience your brand. So a few other tips I would say for creating a brand are to make sure that your brand is memorable and authentic. Always be you. Don't try to be somebody you're not. And then most importantly, it has to be consistent, which you'll probably hear me say several times today. A lot of the marketing side of business is all about consistency and remaining the same. So consistency is key. So your brand should always be the same, and it should be present in everything that you say and do. So whenever someone experiences it, they know it's you.
Yeah, that's really cool. And why is branding so important for small businesses?
It's important because an effective brand experience is the quickest way you're going to build a customer base and grow your business. So I get a lot of calls from people who have small businesses where everything is falling apart before they even got started. And typically it's because they never thought through the process and built that brand like we just talked about. So you cannot build a business without its foundation. That would be like building a house on the sand. It's going to fall down. So it has to be done correctly. So it takes somebody an average of 7 times to see and experience your brand before they connect with it the first time. That's a lot when you think about it. 7 times they have to see you somewhere. So that's why we say every piece of your business needs to be consistent and it needs to be on brand, because they've got to see it that 7 times. So you have to always, always, always start with the brand. That's your foundation. And then you're going to build from there.
Yeah, that's great. And do small businesses always need a website, or is social media enough?
So every small business needs a website and they need social media. They really need both of those presences. So if you remember, back in 2021, there was a global Facebook outage and it lasted like 6 to 8 hours. Mm-hmm. I think it included Instagram and a few other social media platforms. And back then, a lot of people just had Facebook and they were doing their business just on Facebook. And so what a lot of people learn from that experience is that we cannot become dependent on a single third-party platform to run our business. So in that 6 hours, you can imagine all those businesses, they couldn't take orders, they couldn't communicate with their customers, and they couldn't make money, which is not a good thing. So you also have to consider the fact that social media platforms can lock you out of your account at any time. You're kind of at their mercy when it comes to social media. So my advice is to make sure you're on several different online avenues. It's not only good business, but it's a good way to reach a wider range of an audience. Besides social media, not only should you have a website, but you should be taking advantage of email marketing. And I say this all the time, you do not own your social media followers. So you should be constantly creating a client database. If you have several avenues of connection with current and prospective clients, when one of those ways crashes, you still have several other ways you can communicate.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when that happened.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah. And we have another question. How do I get found on a Google search?
So the answer to that is SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. So SEO is all about understanding how and what people are searching for related to your business, and then using that information on your website. So SEO is important because it actually generates more traffic to your website than paid advertising can. If it's done the right way, it snowballs over time and it sends more people to your website. But ranking on Google should actually never be the main focus of your website. And getting more visitors should never be your end goal, because in reality, that's never going to grow your business. So your goal should be to build contacts, get people on your website, get them to fill out the contact form, to join your email list, book a consultation or a discovery call. So you think of it like this: would you rather have 200 monthly visitors or 20 completed forms where you now have a way to contact these people and make them into a lead? So SEO should never be about vanity measures like page rank or the amount of visitors. It should always be about growing your specific target audience to bring you in more leads. And sometimes people get those backwards. That kind of takes us back to question 3 we just talked about. So you should be constantly creating client database. Mm-hmm. So you do need SEO, but you don't need it for bringing in a bunch of people to your website. You need it for bringing in the right people to your website that turn to leads. Mm-hmm. So some things I can touch on real quick that will actually help your SEO. One would be Google My Business. If you've never set up a Google My Business account, you really should do that. It's free. You can go out there and do that. It is your best form of local SEO you will ever find. And your Google My Business account actually ties to your website and boosts your ranking. You can do lots of things within Google My Business. You can put posts in there. You can engage with people. You can have your own mini website within there. You can have pictures, video, all sorts of stuff. Also on Google My Business, you can direct people directly to pages on your website. So you can drive traffic that way, which also is going to help your SEO. If you need help on setting up a Google My Business page, I have a free resource on my website, and I will link to that in the description below, so you can go find that. A second great way to boost your SEO is through your social media. Links you share across your social media platforms do increase your brand exposure. So shares, likes, and comments and posts you receive, they send a signal to Google, and that sends a signal to the search engines to rank you higher. The most important thing I can tell you about SEO is it takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You'll start seeing results within 4 to 6 months. So again, SEO is all about consistency and patience.
Yeah, that's great. And the final question that we have for you is, as a small business with a limited budget, why should we hire you to build a website when there are some DIY website builders already out there?
So this is probably the question I get asked most by small business owners because they have small budgets starting out. And I do understand that, because as a small business owner myself, I know it's hard. You wear lots of hats in the beginning. You're trying to accomplish a lot of things. But that's why I built my business, and I built it completely around the concept of affordable design for everyone. I would say 99% of the time, I can find a way to make a client's budget work for what they need so they can have a professional online presence. But remember, again, that websites and branding are your biggest and most important investment you're going to make starting out. So they are important ones to put your time and your money into. But here's just a few tips for you on why I think you should hire a designer to design your website. With a designer, you're going to get a unique custom website that's built specifically to you, your business, your needs, and your target audience. As a designer, we understand the importance of flow and the design of a website. We understand how users use websites, where they look for things, how their eyes move, where they're going, what content should be on a page, what content should not be on a page. You know, when you DIY your own website, you're most likely stuck within a template. It could be something thousands of other people have, so it doesn't make you unique or stand out like we talked about. With a DIY platform, those websites are usually not scalable, or they're not easily adaptable as your business grows. So eventually you're going to end up hiring a designer anyway, and then you have to start the whole process again as it is. So if you start with a designer the first time, they can easily help you as your business grows and scales to adapt that website to your needs. And trust me, expanding is a lot less time and money than starting over. The last two very important pieces of web design are mobile friendly and the SEO we talked about. And professionals have experience in those areas, and they know how to follow the best practices, because we know most people are viewing your site on mobile. So we got to make sure that's set up and set up correctly. Just a little statistic for you here. 75% of consumers admit to making judgments on a company's credibility based on their website design. And 38% of people will actually stop engaging and leave your website if the content and layout are unattractive. So people do stay and shop or connect with you off your website based on the design. So it's an important thing to think about. It's almost just as important in the content, if not more. So I hope all these tips today help you out. Just remember, you're going to start with the foundation. You're going to build the brand. You're going to design the logo. You're going to design the website. And then it's all about taking the brand and the website and combining them with social media and email marketing to help you build and scale that business. And it's as easy as that, Emily.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Thank you so much. This conversation has been so informative. I've actually learned so much today. And thank you all for joining us for this episode of Coffee Chats with Kelly. Be sure to check out the links in the description to check out the resources that Kelly mentioned earlier. And we also invite you to visit our website, www.designbykelly.org, to see our portfolio and also to find out how we can change your small business for good. We also invite you to visit our Canva template shop to find all our free resources, as well as our Canva templates to get your design journey started. And thank you so much, and we hope you join us for next episode of Coffee Chats with Kelly.